I never thought I'd shove a CEO face first into a snowbank while her screams echoed off the Rockies. But that's exactly what happened when Karen Hargrove decided my off-grid paradise was her personal playground. She'd stormed my driveway that crisp October morning, her SUV blocking the whole cul-de-sac like she owned the zip code, demanding the key to the community's overlooked cabin with the entitlement of someone who'd never heard the word no. Little did she know, handing over that fob would trigger a lockdown sequence straight out of a Tom Clancy novel, turning her power trip into a $2 million nightmare she couldn't sue her way out of. It started 6 months earlier, back in the sweltering heat of a Denver summer that had everyone in our gated subdivision on edge. I just closed on the cabin, a sleek, fortified retreat I'd inherited from my late uncle, tucked 5 miles up a private access road in the foothills. It wasn't your grandma's A-frame. This was a state-of-the-art bunker disguised as rustic luxury, complete with biometric locks, solar arrays, and enough surveillance to make the NSA jealous. Uncle Ray had been a paranoid ex-CIA type, paranoid enough to drop $2 million on it back in the 90s when black helicopters were all the rage. Me? I was just a mid-level software engineer at a Boulder startup, lucky enough to dodge estate taxes and score the deed. Our neighborhood, Eagles Perch Estates, was one of those McMansion mazes where folks paid top dollar for views but skimped on souls. HOAs in Colorado are like mini dictatorships, and ours was run by a board of Karens who treated rulebooks like holy writ. Karen Hargrove, yes, her actual name was Karen, was the undisputed queen bee, CEO of Hargrove Consulting, a firm that specialized in streamlining corporate inefficiencies by firing people en masse. She was a walking caricature, mid-40s, pushing 250 pounds crammed in an athleisure that screamed, "I run marathons in my mind," with bottle blonde hair teased into a helmet and eyes like chipped flint. Her husband, some limp-dick accountant named Todd, trailed her like a whipped puppy, and their twin boys were holy terrors who TP'd mailboxes for sport. I kept a low profile since moving in. No block parties for me. I preferred coding late into the night with a six-pack of Coors and the hum of my dual monitors. But Karen had fixated on my cabin from day one. See, from her McMansion's back deck, you could just make out the cabin's chimney poking above the tree lean. "A blight on the vista," she called it the first HOA meeting I attended. I showed up to that circus out of boredom, sipping lukewarm coffee in the community center's fluorescent glow while she droned on about covenants and fines. "Mr. Ellis," she'd purred, her voice all honeyed venom as she pointed a manicured claw at me from the podium. "Your structure up there. It's not even on the approved plot map. We're talking aesthetics here. Eagles Perch is a premium community. We can't have eyesores compromising property values." The room tittered. Mostly her cronies, a gaggle of Botox housewives and golf shirt retirees. I leaned back in my folding chair, the metal creaking under me. "Ma'am, it's private land. Deeded to me fair and square. Not part of the HOA plat." Her smile tightened, lips pursing like she'd sucked a lemon. "Everything in Eagles Perch is communal in spirit, dear. That view belongs to all of us. And if it's not compliant..." She trailed off, letting the threat hang like bad cologne. I chuckled, low and easy, the kind of laugh that says you're not worth the spit. "Compliant with what?" "The ghost of your ego." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Todd shifted uncomfortably in the front row, his polo stretched taut over a beer gut. Karen's cheeks flushed beet red, but she recovered with a flick of her wrist. "We'll see about that at the next board vote." That next board vote turned into a 6-month shit show. Certified letters arrived weekly, stamped with legalese from her lawyer buddy downtown. Fines piled up for visual obstruction and unauthorized accessory dwelling. Neighbors I'd waved to at mailboxes started crossing the street, whispering about that standoff guy. Even my boss at work caught wind. Some busybody forwarded an email chain calling me a hostile element. I ignored it all, holing up in my cabin on weekends, grilling elk steaks, and watching the sunset bleed orange over the plains. But Karen wasn't one to fade into irrelevance. She escalated like a bad sequel. One Saturday, as I mowed my lawn in cargo shorts and a faded Broncos tee, her Escalade screeched into my drive, kicking up gravel like shrapnel. Out she waddled, flanked by two burly guys in polo shirts. HOA enforcement volunteers, probably ex-cops she'd charmed with her sob stories. "Ellis," she bellowed, arms akimbo, sweat beading on her upper lip despite the AC blasting from her ride. "This ends today. Hand over the key to that shack, or we'll have code enforcement up there by Monday." I killed the mower, wiping my hands on a rag, the engine's echo fading into the cicada buzz. "Key? To what? Your fantasy kingdom. It's my property, Karen. Trespass once, and I'll press charges." Her eyes narrowed to slits, that corporate snarl twisting her jowls. "You're obstructing the community's right to scenic enjoyment. It's in the bylaws, Section 7.2, Communal Vistas. And I've got a petition with 70 signatures saying that eyesore of yours is a fire hazard, a rodent nest, and a goddamn embarrassment." The volunteers shifted, looking anywhere but at me. One muttered something about just doing our jobs. I stepped closer, close enough to smell her Chanel number 5, mixed with desperation. "Petition? From folks too scared to say it to my face. Tell you what, come up and see it yourself. But you'll need an invite, and honey, you're about as welcome as a tax audit." She laughed, a bark that echoed off the houses. "Invite? I demand access now, or I'll slap you with a lien so fast your head spins." That was the spark. I could have lawyered up, but something in her smugness, the way she puffed up like a toad in heat, flipped a switch. Uncle Ray's stories about defending the homestead echoed in my skull. "Fine," I said, pulling the fob from my pocket. It was matte black, unassuming, with a single RFID chip. "Here, but remember, you asked for this." Her sausage fingers snatched it, triumph gleaming in her piggy eyes. "Smart boy. Board meeting Tuesday. We'll discuss. Restitution." She waddled back to her SUV, the key jangling like a death knell. I watched her peel out, tires smoking, and felt a grin split my face. "Restitution? Oh, Karen, you have no idea. The cabin wasn't just a getaway. It was a fortress. Uncle Ray had it built after the Gulf War, paranoid about Y2K or whatever bogeyman kept him up. Reinforced concrete under log siding, panic room in the basement, motion sensor floodlights that could blind a bear. The key fob? It wasn't a key. It was an arming code. One tap on the access panel at the trailhead, and you'd need my thumbprint to proceed. But Karen, bless her entitled heart, didn't know that. She'd think it was a simple unlock, like popping the cork on a rose. Monday night, I got the drone feed alert on my phone, motion at the gate. There she was huffing up the dirt trail in Lululemon leggings stretched to translucency, Todd trailing with a cooler like a pack mule. She'd probably spun it as a fact-finding mission to her posse, but I knew better. This was conquest. I sipped a whiskey neat in my living room, the screen split between her feed and the cabin's exterior cams. She reached the panel, a sleek steel box camouflaged as a trail marker, and swiped the fob. Green light. Inner gate clicked open. "See Todd? Piece of cake," she crowed, her voice tinny through the mic I'd accidentally left hot. They trudged on, her breaths coming in wheezes, sweat soaking her tank top into a translucent map of her bra. The trail steepened, switchbacks carved into granite, but Karen plowed ahead like a freight train off the rails. "This better be worth it," Todd grumbled. "The boys are at soccer." "Shut it," she snapped. "This is about principle. That little shit thinks he can defy me. I'll have the deed by Christmas." By the time they crested the final rise, the sun was dipping low, painting the aspens gold. The cabin loomed, 2 stories of varnished pine, wraparound deck, floor-to-ceiling windows that screamed money. But Karen's eyes lit up predatory. "Finally, open up." She jabbed the fob at the front door panel. "Nothing." "What the?" Jab again. Red light. Lockdown initiated. I hit the app toggle for my couch. Sirens wailed. Low, throbbing klaxons that vibrated the ground. Perimeter lights snapped on, strobing harsh white. From hidden ports in the eaves, automated turrets whirred to life. Non-lethal, Ray had insisted, but packing rubber rounds and tasers that'd drop a moose. Karen shrieked, dropping the fob like it burned. "What the hell is this?" "Todd, do something." He froze, cooler slipping from his grip, IPAs shattering on the flagstones. Karen, we gotta go. A warning shot cracked overhead, the sonic boom echoing like thunder. She bolted, or tried to, her bulk jiggling as she spun toward the trail. But the gates had sealed behind them. Secondary lockdown. Electrified fence segments humming to life, a 10-foot barrier of pain. I watched, heart pounding with a mix of glee and guilt. This wasn't just petty, it was biblical. But damn, if it didn't feel right. They pounded on the inner gate for an hour, Karen's screams devolving into sobs, Todd reduced to whimpering apologies. I told you to call a lawyer, he wailed. Shut up, Todd. This is assault. I'll ruin him. By midnight, I called the sheriff. Anonymous tip about trespassers in distress. Deputies hauled them out, hypothermic and howling. Karen vowing lawsuit from the back of the cruiser. That cabin's mine. You'll see. Tuesday's board meeting was a bloodbath. She burst in late, hair askew, nursing a twisted ankle from her tumble down the trail. Ellis is a terrorist, she thundered, slamming printouts of blurry drone stills on the table. Armed compound. Attempted murder. The board, sensible folks for once, blanched. I sat in the back, arms crossed, letting her unravel. Ma'am, the chairwoman said gently, you trespassed on private property. With a stolen key, no less. Stolen? He gave it to me. Under duress. I piped up, voice calm as a Colorado stream. And those turrets? Standard bear deterrence. Legal as apple pie. Murmurs. Nods. Karen's face purpled. This isn't over. I'll bury you in court. She did try. Depositions, motions, even a smear campaign on Nextdoor calling me a militia nut. But Uncle Ray's lawyers, still on retainer, shredded her. The cabin's deed was ironclad, off-plat, untouchable. Her communal vista claim? Laughable in court. Judges in Jefferson County don't buy HOA fairy tales. Months dragged. Fines reversed. Her petition burned in effigy at the next potluck. Okay, I might have started that rumor. Karen slunk around the neighborhood. A ghost in oversized sunglasses, her consulting gigs drying up as word spread. Don't cross Hargrove. She's unhinged. But the Real kicker came in spring when the feds knocked. Turns out, Ray's bunker had an old cache of sensitive materials, declassified docs he'd squirreled away. Karen's ill-advised raid had tripped a silent alarm, logging her biometrics in a system that flagged to Langley. Not enough for charges, but enough for a visit from Suits who advised her to drop everything. Last I heard, she's selling the McMansion, fleeing to Florida with Todd and the twins. The cabin? Still mine, quieter than ever. I sit on the deck now, key fob in pocket, toasting to petty victories. In America, land is power. And sometimes a little paranoia, it goes a long way. Wait, that's not the end. Nah, I glossed over the revenge arc. Let me rewind, because the real meat, the part that had me pacing my kitchen at 3 a.m., plotting like a Bond villain, kicked in after the sheriff's circus. See, Karen didn't just sue. She weaponized the neighborhood. Anonymous flyers hit every mailbox. Danger. Armed recluse at Lot 47. Protect our children. Her Facebook group exploded with pearl-clutching posts. Edited trail cam footage making the turrets look like missile silos. My boss pulled me aside one Monday. Heard about the incident. HR's watching. I nodded, bit my tongue, but inside, I was a volcano. That's when I went dark. No more low profile. I started digging, public records, LinkedIn, that digital detritus we all leave. Karen Hargrove, born Karen Sue Wilkins in Omaha, climbed the ladder by backstabbing mentors, divorced once for irreconcilable ambition, now on husband 3. Her firm? A house of cards built on ghost clients and inflated invoices. One late night, fueled by Red Bull and spite, I tipped off a reporter of the Post. Anonymous source. Insider docs on Hargrove Consulting's shady deals. The story dropped mid-May, front page of the business section. Local CEO's empire built on smoke. Allegations of fraud rocked Denver firm. Photos of her at galas. All fake smiles and forced laughs. Clients bolted. The SEC started sniffing. She blamed me, of course, subpoena my IP logs, but Ray's setup? Air-gapped, untraceable. By June, her empire crumbled. Layoffs she couldn't finesse, board ousting her in a Zoom call that leaked online. Todd packed the U-Haul while she raged in the garage, hurling golf clubs at the walls. I drove by once, slow roll past their curb, windows down to catch the symphony of dysfunction. "You'll pay, Ellis," she shrieked from the lawn, mascara rivers down her cheeks, looking every bit the hag she'd become. "Pay? Nah." That was her tab. The cabin stood sentinel, my unbreachable throne. And as the last moving truck rumbled away, I raised a beer to the empty drive. Sweet, bitter justice, American as it gets. But hold up, I'm getting ahead. The feds? That was the cherry. July heat wave, 2 men in black types at my door, badges gleaming. "Mr. Ellis, your uncle's estate flagged a security breach. They grilled me on the intruders, showed footage of Karen's meltdown. I played dumb, just a nosy neighbor. Bare deterrence only." They chuckled, dry, bureaucratic, and left with a warning. "Keep it clean. That rig's got history." Turns out, Ray had stashed more than docs. Whispers of Cold War gadgets. Nothing illegal, but enough to spook. Karen got a knock too. Subpoena for her access attempt, tying into a broader probe on her firm's data security lapses. Irony? She went down not for fraud, but for tripping over her own greed into a national security hornet's nest. Fall rolled in, leaves turning the foothills to fire. Neighborhood quieted without her reign. New board prez, a chill vet named Mike, apologized over beers at the clubhouse. "She was a cancer, man. Glad you stood firm." I nodded, clinking bottles. Stood firm? Hell, I torched the field. But some victories you savor silent. Now, winter's grip loosens, and I hike the trail daily, fob secure. Karen's ghost lingers in bad dreams, her snarl, her grab. But waking, I see the truth. In this land of dreamers and doers, the entitled fall hardest. And my cabin? It's not just secure. It's sacred, untouchable. Epilogue's a stretch, but closure's key. Last week, a postcard arrived. Florida postmark, her scrawl. "You win this round, but karma's a bitch." I burned it in the cabin's hearth, ashes swirling up the flue. Karma? Buddy, she met him on that trail. And me? I'm just the guy who held the gate. The postcard's embers still glowed when my phone buzzed. A block number, voicemail waiting. I hit play, half expecting a rasp. Instead, Todd's voice, oily and defeated. "Hey, Ellis. It's Todd. Karen's. Not doing great. Lost the house, the business. Docs say depression, but it's more. She talks about you nonstop. That cabin. Says it's cursed or something. Anyway, if you ever wanna talk, bury the hatchet." Click. I deleted it, but sleep dodged me that night. Curse. Pot kettle. Her downfall haunted me too. Not guilt exactly, but the echo of what I'd unleashed. America loves a revenge flick, but living it? Messier than the movies. Flashback to the raid's aftermath. Post-sheriff, Karen holed up, plotting. I know because her volunteers defected. One, a burly plumber named Gus, knocked on my door with sixers and shame. She paid us $50 to intimidate ya. Said it was community service. When those lights popped, I pissed myself. Sorry, man. We cracked brews on my porch, stars pricking the ink-black sky. Gus spilled. Her war room in the basement, whiteboard scrawled with Ellis takedown strategies. Photos of my truck, my license plate. She's obsessed. Thinks you're ex-military or worse. Worse. Try Code Monkey with a grudge. But Gus's intel was gold. I started small counter-moves. Anonymous Yelp reviews on her firm. Cutthroat Karen fired my wife. Avoid. Tips to her biggest client about billing irregularities. Petty? Sure. But she started it, demanding my sanctum like it was her birthright. By August, the heat turned infernal. 100 degrees, air thick as soup. Neighborhood pool parties wilted. Folks at indoors with AC humming. I escaped to the cabin, upgrading the system on a whim. New cams, AI facial rec. Why? Paranoia, Ray's legacy. Or maybe premonition. Alert pinged at dusk, vehicle at the access road. Not hers, a sleek black sedan, Plates from out of state. I zoomed in. Karen, gaunt in sunglasses, with a suit beside her. Lawyer? Pie? They idled, then U-turned. Close call. That night, rain lashed the windows, thunder rumbling like artillery. I paced, whiskey in hand, mind racing. Revenge wasn't enough. I needed finality. Dig deeper. Her firm's SEC filings buried in Edgar database. Boom! Shell companies funneled funds. I forwarded to that Post reporter anonymous email via Tor. Article 2 dropped Labor Day weekend. Hargrove Consulting faces federal scrutiny. Offshore accounts exposed. Her photo, older now, lines etched deep. Stock dipped. Partners jumped ship. She called an emergency board meeting. Ours, not hers. Crashed it, actually bursting into the community center like a storm front. Ellis, she howled, pointing from the door, rain dripping from her slicker. Board frozen mid-agenda. You leaked it. Admit it. I stood slow, casual. Evening, Karen. Meetings members only. And leaks? Try mirrors. She charged the table, fist balled, face a mask of fury. You ruined me. My life gone. For a stupid cabin. Mike the Prez stepped in, gentle but firm. Ma'am, leave, or we call cops. She deflated, shoulders slumping, that bloated frame suddenly frail. Please, just give it up. The key, the land. Start over. Silence stretched, heavy as the downpour outside. Pity flickered, unwanted, unwelcome. But then I remembered her grab, her snarl, the fob yanking from my palm. No, I said soft. You don't get to demand peace after waging war. She left in tears, door slamming echo. Next day, for sale sign in her yard. By October, gone. Winter hit hard that year. Blizzards burying the trail in feet of powder. I shoveled paths, solitude my companion. News trickled. Her firm's dissolution, bankruptcy filing. Todd filed separately, custody battle over the twins. She vanished into therapy speak, finding herself in the Keys. Me? Promoted at work? Ironic my resilience impressing the brass. Neighbors thawed. Barbecues on my deck now. Tales of Karen's reign swapped like war stories. But the cabin called louder. Up there, under star-frosted skies, I found peace. Ray's ghost approved, I think, his laugh in the wind. One April thaw. Hiking the trail, I found it. The fob, half buried in mud where she dropped it. Tarnished but intact. I pocketed it, grinning. Souvenir from a siege. Life rolled on. Dates with a barista named Lena. Craft brews with Gus. Code that shipped. Karen? A footnote, a cautionary tweet in the feed of Suburbia. Until last week. That postcard. I didn't burn it after all. Framed it in the cabin's den, beside Ray's old service pistol, unloaded legal. Reminder, entitlement's the real intruder. And me? Keeper the gate. Framing the postcard was a mistake. It sat there on the mantel, mocking me through a summer of uneasy normalcy. Lena noticed first during one of our cabin weekends, her idea, testing if I was more than my fortress. She traced the scrawl with a fingertip, brow furrowed. Creepy ex or what? Worse, I said, stoking the fire. Architect of my near meltdown. Spilled the saga over Esmores, her laughter echoing off the beams. Dude, you like the suburban Rambo. But seriously, let it go. She's dust. Dust. Yeah, but dust settles, clings. By July 4th, fireworks lit the valley like tracer rounds, and I couldn't shake the itch. Googled her, old habit. Boca Raton address, LinkedIn dormant. Then, a blip, guest spot on a true crime pod. Victim of vigilante justice. I tuned in half-cocked, volume low. Her voice, thinner now, spun the tale. Innocent HO enforcer, ambushed by militarized psycho. Omitted the demand, the fob, her trespass. Listeners ate it up. Sympathy DMs flooding her new handle at Karen Unsilenced. Rage simmered, slow boil. Lena saw the scroll on my phone, snatched it. Nope. Block and delete. Or I walk. I did mostly, but the pod planted seeds. What if she rallied? A GoFundMe for legal fight against cabin tyrant? Donations trickled. She crowed on Insta, poolside in a muumuu that hid nothing. August scorched, monsoons teasing relief. Work crunch left me ragged, deploying a security suite ironic in hindsight. Then, the email, from a throwaway, subject truce. Attached, scan of a notary, her signature swearing off all claims to my land. For the boys, note read. Let me fade. Trap, olive branch. I forwarded to my lawyer, clean, legit. Relief washed, bittersweet. Called Lena. It's over. Beers at the cabin. She arrived with takeout tie, eyes sparkling. To closure. We toasted, made love on the deck under meteor shower stars. For a week, peace reigned. Then, Labor Day barbecue at Mike's, neighborhood détente. Gus manned the grill, flipping burgers with tales of Karen's meltdown memos. Laughter flowed, IPAs cold. But midway, a shadow at the gate, Todd, gaunt in khakis, clutching a manila envelope. Ellis, he mumbled, avoiding eyes. She sent this. For you. I took it gut twisting. Inside, photos, grainy prints of the cabin from her deck, time-stamped years back. And a letter, her hand shaky. I was wrong. Obsessed. The loss. Broke me good. Keep your hill. I kept my poison. Todd shuffled. She's clean now. Therapy, AA. Twins hate her, but progress. He paused, voice cracking. You won fair. Just. Don't gloat. I clapped his shoulder. Awkward, genuine. No bloating. Tell her. Water under the dam. He nodded, vanished in a twilight. Envelope hit the fire pit that night, flames devouring her words. Closure, for real. Fall foliage exploded. Aspen's electric yellow, trails carpeted crimson. Hikes with Lena turned routine, her hand in mine syncing with my stride. Work stabilized. Even pitched a homestead security app inspired by Ray's rig. Investors nibbled. Halloween, kids en masse trick-or-treated my door first time. I doled candy, grinning at pint-sized superheroes. Life normalized, Karen a scar fading pink. Thanksgiving, Lena's folks visited, Norman Rockwell vibe, turkey and yams. She whispered post-dinner. Marry me? Here, next summer. Heart stuttered. Yeah, hell yeah. Winter whispered in, first snow dusting the peaks. Cabin prepped, firewood stacked, systems checked. I found the fob again, cleaned it, mounted on a plaque, gatekeeper's key. Christmas Eve, snow globe world outside. Lena asleep upstairs. I nursed eggnog by the hearth, radio, crooning Bing. Phone buzzed, news alert. Ex-CEO Karen Hargrove settles fraud suit, donates proceeds to victim advocacy. Article skimmed her quote. Learned humility the hard way. Mountains teach that. I smiled faint. Mountains do. Raise my mug to the dark, to hard ways. New Year's dawned crisp. Resolutions half-hearted. Lena and I skied Vale, her whoops on the blacks matching my adrenaline. Back home, routine solidified. Coffee runs, code sprints, cabin sunsets. Spring bloomed, dogwoods pink against evergreens. Wedding plans hummed. Small, mountaintop, just us and peaks. Invites went out. Gus RSVP'd with hell yes, brother. May a package arrived, no sender. Inside, tarnished HOA badge, her name etched. Note, burn this. Or keep if it helps. No signature, but I knew. I burned it, ashes to wind. Helped? Nah, but forgiven? Close enough. Summer solstice, ceremony at the cabin. Lena in white lace, me in boots and vows. Gus officiated off-book but heartfelt. Vows exchanged as sun dipped, golden on her ring. Honeymoon? Right there, trail hikes, stargazing, love unfortified. Now, a year on, belly swelling with our first. Life's a cabin, sturdy, secret holding, view forever. Karen? Legend now, bar story for new neighbors. Don't mess with the hill guy. I don't, and neither will she. Pregnancy's glow suited Lena, but it amplified everything. Cravings at midnight, moods like Denver weather. By fall, we nested. Crib in the spare room, nursery murals of mountains and code. Her touch, my nerdery. The cabin expanded in spirit, if not square footage. Solar upgrade. Guest bunk for her folks. But peace? Fleeting. October alert. Drone feed, figure the trailhead. Not Karen. Slimmer, hesitant. Todd again, envelope in hand. She's gone, he said when I met him down low. Breath fogging crisp air. Cancer. Fussed. Left this for you. Envelope heavy, unsealed. Inside. Will excerpt, cabin named in codicil, to the man who taught me loss's edge. No claim, just gesture. Donate if you wish. Or keep, as reminder. Reminder of what? Her venom? Or the mirror she forced on me? Todd's eyes pleaded. She changed and forgave you. Us. I nodded throat tight. Sully, man. Twins okay. With me. Healing. He turned, snowflakes catching in his hair. Take care of that hill. I did, hiked up slow, Lena waiting with Coco. Read her the note by firelight. She squeezed my hand. Bury it. With grace. We did, under the aspen where the fob fell. Small stone marker, anonymous. Grace. American virtue. Hard one. Winter wrapped us cozy. Blizzards raging. Us inside with Netflix and noms. Baby kicks synced to heartbeats. Names debated. Ray for a boy. After the builder. Spring thaws brought blooms, and blooms brought buyers. Our old place sold quick, proceeds padding the cabin fund. Full-time up here now, remote work purring. Summer wedding anniversary. Vow renewal, just us, sunset toast. To gates guarded, grudges buried. Fall again, harvest moon fat. Lena's water broke at dawn. Rushed to Boulder General, me white-knuckled on the wheel. Hours blurred, pushes cries then him. Elias Ray Ellis, red-faced warrior, 10 fingers wailing. Homecoming hike gentle, babe and carrier, world sharp anew. Cabin welcomed. Mobile over crib, stars projected on ceiling. Months melted, sleepless, sublime. Elias's first smile hit like code, compiling perfect. Neighbors visited, bearing casseroles. Gus, Uncle, and G with goofy faces. One night, colic storm passed. I rocked him by window, rocky silhouette. Phone lit. News ping. Former HOA president passes. Karen Hargrove, 48. Obit skimmed. Survivor battles, quiet redemption. No mention of me. The cabin. Good. Lena stirred. You okay? Yeah. Kissed his brow. All good. Years spun. Elias toddled trails. Lena coded beside me. Partnership seamless. Cabin evolved. Treehouse for him, deck extension for us. Karen's shadow? Faded sepia. But lessons lingered, entitlements poison, boundaries power. In HOA hells across America, my tale whispered, stand firm or fold. Elias, 5 now, asks about the magic turrets. I spin yarns. Guardian elves, kid. Keep bad guys out. He giggles, chasing fireflies. Magic indeed. And me? Still the keeper. Key in pocket, heart full. Mountains eternal, grudges not. Fade to now, Elias 10, Lena's startup booming. Our life, a code well written. Cabin stands, $2 million fortress turned family hearth. Last hike, summit view vast. Dad, he says, why the big fence? I grin, arm round him. To protect what's ours, son. Always. He nods, wise beyond. Ours. American dream, fortified.